Revelation 4 marks a big transition in John's apocalypse. The focus moves from the condition of the seven churches to the heavenly throne room. Chapter 4, verse 1 states, "After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, 'Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this.'" There are some who will suggest that not only is John taken up into heaven, but more importantly, this is also the time of the rapture. This is when the believing church is caught up into heaven. Now, I can't tell you all the arguments, but the main point for many is that the rapture must occur before the beginning of the tribulation in chapter 6, and is proven so by the absence of the word church from John's apocalypse after chapter 3. Now, as one scholar observes, the open door and the voice which calls, "Come up here," and John's presence in glory in the Spirit clearly indicates symbolically the fulfillment of 1 Thessalonians 4:15 through 17. If you're not familiar, it's there in Thessalonians where Paul states, "We who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air." Now, as I read it, there is nothing in the Revelation text of chapter 4 that should cause us to read rapture into this passage. It's also predicated on a perspective that assumes the future church will be unique in its exemption from the suffering of the historical church. It shouldn't surprise us that it isn't until modernity and the 1800s, the ascendance of the church in the West to positions of power, privilege, if not comfort, that all of a sudden what has been commonplace should be unthinkable. That is, that Christians would endure suffering. It also fails to reconcile with the reality that our most powerful witness is often in and through our suffering. Now, if that's the case, and there was still some hope for some that they would turn to the Lord, why would he take us out of the world? Now, I won't belabor the point, but nor can a proper understanding of Revelation shy away from it. Now, I think the main problem with understanding chapter 4 in this way is that implicitly it makes the church the focus and not what John sees. So let's turn our attention there. "At once I was in the Spirit, and there before me was a throne in heaven with someone sitting on it. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby, a rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne." Of course, there's so much to see, but let's start here. One commentator has described John's view as a symphony of Old Testament theophanies. The word throne is particularly noteworthy. It shows up 43 times from here to the conclusion of Revelation, which not only tells us something, it should do something in the hearts of us, his audience. Remember, just because the message to the seven churches are limited to chapters 2 and 3, the entirety of John's apocalypse, it's for them, right? And as they find themselves ground under the oppression of Roman authority, that's what tribulation means. The unveiling is that God is seated on his throne. The throne is a symbol of God's absolute unrivaled sovereignty. Powers and principalities, they cannot compare to the one who is enthroned. And you see how this works? Chapter 1 begins with this remarkable description of Jesus, who is intentionally depicted in connection with the Lord. He is authoritative. His authoritative voice delivers a message to the seven churches who are all in some way facing the challenge to persevere and endure. The vision of the heavenly throne and the one seated is not deliverance from, but to provide perspective on. It's apocalypse, revealing that as you endure, know this: God is on the throne. As we despair of powers, be they political or cultural, physical, material, ideological, the vision is that he is on the throne. All is in his hands. that should stir us to faithful witness, whatever the circumstance. May we persevere knowing that the Lord is on the throne. Have a blessed week.